To say, to wake with gratitude, the first words we utter every morning. Gratitude for life, gratitude for the one beside us, gratitude for opening my eyes. Are we on? From a poem by Rabindranath Tagore, right? He said that the world has opened its heart of light in the morning, and he calls, come out, my heart, with thy love to meet it. To be ode ani lefanecha, to be of indeterminate measurement of memory, measurement of capacity to receive. Yadai ode ani lefanecha, dai dai dai, yadai dai dai, dai dai dai, yadai dai. Light, Mode'ani lefanecha, Ode'ani lefanecha, Moda'ani lefanecha, before you, gratitude for waking up. Moda'ani lefanecha, melech chai vekayam, Moda'ani lefanecha, ruach chai vekayam, שחזרת בי, נשמעתי בחמלה רבה, אמונתך שחזרת בי, נשמעתי בחמלה רבה, אמונתך. מודעני ולחי
שחזרת בי, נשמעתי בחמלה רבה, אמונתך שחזרת בי, נשמעתי בחמלה רבה, אמונתך.
And we rise in all the ways we are able to rise to greet the day. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasech bibina lehavchin bein yom ubein laila. You give me the capacity to distinguish between day and night.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בצלמו. You made me in your image.
Amen. ברוכת שכינה אלוהינו רוח העולם שעשני בת חורין. You make me a daughter. You make me a daughter of freedom.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני ישראל. You made me ישראל.
Amen. ברוכת שכינה אלוהינו רוח העולם פוקחת עיוורים. You open up the stumbling blocks before me.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מלביש ערומים. You clothe the naked.
Amen. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם זוקף כפופים. You straighten me when I'm crumpled over.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מתיר אסורים. You free the captive.
Amen. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם רוקע הארץ על המים. You give me firmness of earth over waters.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשה לי כל צורכי. You give me all that I need.
Amen. ברוכת שכינה אלוהינו רוח העולם המכינה מצעדי גברת. You prepare firmness under my steps as I go on my way.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוזר ישראל בגבורה. You give Israel strength.
Amen. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוטר ישראל בתפארה. You crown us with glory.
Amen.
From loving kindness and courage.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם הנותן ליעב כוח. You give endurance to the weary.
Amen. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המעביר שינה מעיניי ותנומה מעפעפיי. You remove sleep from my eyes and slumber from my eyelids. And as we go about our day today, may we be seen with kindness, with grace and compassion. And every so often, I would like to ask our friends on Zoom to reveal themselves, that we may see them with kindness and grace and compassion. And the blessings we bring to this day are many. Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam, Baruch Hu. If you're holding a siddur in your hands here on site, we are on page 6. And our friends on Zoom,
Baruch She'amar v'haya olam.
Baruch Hu.
Baruch Oseh Bereshit, Baruch Omer Ve'oseh, Baruch Gozer u'Mekayem, Baruch Merachem al haaretz, Baruch Merachem al habriyot, Baruch Meshalem Sachar Tov lireyav, Baruch Haylad Ve'kayam lanetzach, Baruch Podeh u'Matzil, Baruch Shemo. Baruch Shemo,
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam, Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu,
Baruch Shemo,
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shema v'haya olam, Baruch Hu. Unified we are in the unifier of all worlds. Yachid Chei Olamim, Melech Meshubach Umfuar Adei Shemo HaGadol. Baruch Atah Adonai, Melech, Melech Meolal, Batish Bachot. We're on page 10. We say, Ashrei, indeed, full of osher, full of abundance is this moment. Only in our community do we stand for Ashrei. In so many places, everybody says, now is the time to sit. But here, it seems to be our minhag to just reach for more Ashrei, more abundance. We're on page 10.
Ashrei,
Ashrei,
Yoshvei,
Yoshvei, Beitecha.
Od Yehalelucha,
Od Yehalelucha.
Ashrei,
Ashrei,
Yoshvei,
Yoshvei, Beitecha. Od Yehalelucha. Od Yehalelucha.
Poteach
Poteach
et yadecha,
et yadecha
u'matzviach lechol
chai ratzon,
lechol
chai ratzon.
poteach
Poteach
et yadecha,
et yadecha u'matzviach lechol chai ratzon, lechol chai ratzon. ואנחנו
נברך
נברך יה
מעתה ועד עולם. הללויה.
הללויה. ואנחנו
נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah, el bekocho, Hallelujah, birkiyahu zo, Hallelujah, bigburotav, Hallelujah, kero v'godelo, Hallelujah, b'teika shofar, Hallelujah, b'nevel v'chinor, Hallelujah, b'tofu machol, Hallelujah, b'mini v'ugat, Silsele Shama, Hallelujah, Silsele Torah, la 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 la. Kol haneshama tehallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Kol haneshama tehallelujah, Hallelujah.
Neshama, the breath that we need to take to bring more kavanah, to rise up to the highest places, that same source of second source of soul. Neshama yeterai, nishmat kol chai. You're on page 12, invited to sit, to be settled into our community.
נשמת כל חי, תברך את שמך, אדוני אלוהינו, ורוח כל בשר, תפאר ותרומם, זכרך מלכנו תמיד, מן העולם ועד העולם, אתה ומבלעדיך אין לנו מלך, גואל ומושיע, פודה ומציל ומפרנס ומרחם, בכל עת צרה וצוקה, אין לנו מלך אלא אתה, אלוהי הראשונים והאחרונים, אלוהי כל בריות, אדון כל תולדות, המהולל ותשבחות, המנהג עולמו בחסד, ובראיותיו ברחמים. ואדוני לא ינום ולא יישן, המעורר ישנים והמקיץ נרדמים, והמשיח אילמים, והמתיר הסורים, והסומך נופלים, והזוקף כפופים. לך לבדך אנחנו מודים, אילופינו מלא שירה קיים, ולשוננו רינה כמון גלה, ושפתותינו שבח כמרחבי רקיע.
Ilufinu male shigakayam, if our mouth ocean full were filled with you. No one to claim that you are more, so much more. Mi yidmelach, umi yishvelach, umi yarochlach. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, קונה שמיים וארץ. נהללך ונשבחך ונפארך, ונברק את שם קודשך כאמור לדוד. ברכי נפשי את אדוני, בחוק הווי את שם קודשו.
האל תעצומות עוזך, הגדול בכבוד שמך, הגיבור לנצח והנורא בנורותיך, המלך היושב על כיסא רם ונישא, שוכנה במרום וקדוש שמו. וכתוב אנו צדיקים באדוני, לישרים נבע תהילה, בפי ישרים תתרומם, ובדברי צדיקים תתברך, ובלשון חסידים תתקדש, ובקרב קדושים תתהלל.
ומחלקות רביבות עמך בית ישראל, ורינה יתפאר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור, שכן חובת כל היצרים לפניך אדוני אלוהינו, ולא אבותינו ואמותינו, להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפאר, לרומם, להדר, לברך, להלל, ולקלל.
על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות, דוד בן ישי,
עבדך משכך. And we rise in all the different ways we're able to rise.
ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, הלל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי הורינו, שיר ושבחה, הלל וזמרה, עוז ממשלה, נצח גדולה וגבורה, תהילה ותפארת, קדושה ומלכות, ברכות והודאות, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודאות, אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אל חיי העולמים.
And a call to our community. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, וילמד יברח חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה, בעגלה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו, יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעלם עלל מעלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה לעילה, מן כל ברכתה בשירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה. And let us say Amen. We could be alone, but we're not. It could be one voice singing out, but we are not one voice. We welcome you all to Shabbat Shalom. They say if I do this, I'm not being heard very clearly, but my neck is tied to those squares. Haven't we lived with those squares and those rectangles for so long? And we still continue, and we bring our community from out there. They are all over. They are drawn by this keva. Explain it to me. I don't understand it, but there is some power beyond you, beyond me, that draws each one of us, all of us, wherever we find our feet, our heels, digging down in groundness in this community. Baruch Hu, we come to our Baruch Hu, and let that be a moment, also a chance to break, to crush the stiffness in our joints, to find the buoyancy so that we may be in front of each other and we may know before whom we stand. We rise for our Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamevorach.
Adonai, Hamiborach leolam vaed.
Hey, la, 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 ay, la, 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 oh. Ay, la, 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 ay, la, 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 ay, la, 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 oh. Ay, la, 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 ay, la, oh, ay, la, 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 do, do, do. Ay, la, 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 ay, la,
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, ברוכת שכינה אלוקינו רוח העולם, יוצרת אור ובוראת חושך, עושה שלום ובוראת את הכל. Source of life, source of light, that lights the deepest places from whence we pray. Forming light, creating darkness, making peace, creating all. If you're following in our Siddur, let us find more light and then more love. You're on page 21. If you're here on site,
אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מעל אורו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מעל אורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות. יאי לה לה יאי לה יאי לה יאי לה יאי לה לה יאי לה דו דו דו. יאי לה לה
Ahavaraba Avtanu, we're on page 23. Sustained are we with love, so deep and unending.
Baruch atah Adonai, abocher b'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Ay la 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 la. Ay la 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 la. Ay la la.
Having been gathered in our hands, these reminders of the ways we are called as a people, having been gathered from all corners of the earth. And now we listen. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And the call to love. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, קשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. And in the words of Reb Zalman Schachter Shalomi, listen, you Israel person, Adonai, who is our God. Adonai, who is one unique, all there is. Through time and space, your glory shines, majestic one. Love Adonai, who is your God, and what your heart is in, and what you aspire to, and what you have made your own. Your earthly needs will be met at the right time. Appropriate to the season, you will reap what you have planted. For your delight and health, also your animals will have ample feed. All of you will eat and be content. But be careful. Don't let your cravings delude you. Don't become alienated, because God's sense within you will become distorted. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Emet ויציב נכון וקיים בישר. To be in wonder, On page 30, we stand on the shore of the sea. Seas of uncertainties have we stood beside all this time.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילו, עושה פלא, שירה חדשה, שיר גאולים לשמך.
To stand horizontally, reaching horizontally and reaching vertically. If you're on page 31, we are in our Amidah. Calling on all our ancestors with whom we've stood before. 7 blessings, 7 opportunities to lay bare our most vulnerable selves.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי רבקה, אלוהי יעקב, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל,
מחלקל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני יפה. מי כמוך בר גבורות ומדום אליו, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה.
בנאמנות לך חיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, שם שמקדישים אותו אותו בשמי מרום. כך כתוב יד נביא אחד ויקרא זלזל ואמר קדוש קדוש אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול מתנשאים לעומת שרפים לעומתם ברוך יאמרו
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לה כי מחכים אנחנו לה מתי תמלוך בציון בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועת ישכון תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך אוי לדור ודור לדור ודור ולנצח נצח לי איי 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 בעינינו תראנה מלכותך איי כדבר אמור בשירי עוזך על ידי דוד משיח צדקך ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור הללויה.
לדור ודור נגיד גדלך ולנצח נצחים קדושות כנקדיש בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד כי הוא מלך גדול וקדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. ישמח משה במתנות חלקו כי אבן נאמן קראת לו. family has looked different in these last many months. Very different. We call on our children. My children are not here physically, but we've made children, we've made family of each other in all these ways that we have become family. Because if I wake up and I see you first thing in the morning, you are my family. If I see you in the most vulnerable place where I am, you are my family. So this moment, we are children to each other. We are parents to each other. We say, Yevarechecha, may this blessing come upon us. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom. That this peace not just be around you, surrounding you, but that it's placed palpably, mamash with hands, mamash palpably on each one of us. V'yasem lecha shalom. And our Aramaic pause as we go from Amidah and these prayers into our Torah service. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברכירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו, יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלמא עולמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקדושה. אלא מכל ברכתה בשירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמרן בעלמא ואמרו תתקבל צלות הון ובת הון דכל בית ישראל קודם מבון דבשמיא ואמרו יהי שלום רבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. Encountering Torah, הכנסת ספר Torah. Are we entering Torah or the Torah is entering our midst?
אין כמוך באלוהים אדוני ואין כמעשיך מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור אדוני מלך אדוני מלך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. הרחמים היטיבה ברצונך את ציון. אדון עולמים. ויהי בנשוא אהרון ויאמר משה קומה אדוני ויפוסו אויביך וינוסו משנאיך מפניך כי מציון תצא תורה כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר אדוני מירושלים ברוך שנתן תורה תורה ברוך שנתן תורה תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. ולשמי קדישה קדישה יקיר ענה אמר דוש בחן בינה רחיץ בינה רחיץ ולשמי קדישה קדישה יקיר ענה אמר דוש בחן קדמך דתיתני בי ואורייתך ותשתי משאלין ליבי וליבה לכל עמך ישראל תבול חיים לאישם שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד.
שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד.
אחד אלוהינו גדול אדוננו קדוש שמו.
אחד אלוהינו גדול אדוננו קדוש שמו.
גדול אדוני איתי ונרוממה שמו יחדיו. לך אדוני הגדול הגבור והתפארת והנצח והאור כי כל בשמיים ובארץ כל בשמיים ובארץ אדוני המלך ומתנשא לכל ראש. רוממו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. La 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 la
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. With a flair, we end. We end and we begin. Parashat Ekev is the heel. And they also say it's because of, as a consequence of. So I'm going to take you to the heel of a service that I experienced many years ago. Service had just ended. It was the most glorious music, most glorious tefillah. And I, a Jew in the pew, was moved to emotion. I moved to emotion a lot. And my friends, I exclaimed just like this, just out of the blue. I said, I would love to learn that. You know, like you're breathing out, except I said aloud, I would love to learn that. And from behind me, there was this basso, this bass voice that just resounded. What exactly would you love to learn? So I turned to the voice behind me, and I was like, you know, when you hear a voice and it's like you were called to the principal's office. And I looked right and left. My family had scooted out, and I had to face him. So I said, and he was tall, imposing, big, and I said, I would love to learn liturgy. His eyes just bore into me. So what do? I talk some more. So I said, Jewish text, tefillah, prayer, Jewish text. Of course it's Jewish, but right, you do that. Of course it's Jewish. I'm in shul, I'm in synagogue. I kept stammering, any of it, all of it. And he said, liturgy, period, should be, period, in the hands, period, of the right, period, people. Clearly, I had offended something, right? First of all, just exclaiming, I would love to learn that. And I thought, who, period. I actually asked him, I looked at him and I said, who exactly are the right people? And he gestured at the Chazan. But then he was like engulfed with, you know, like that after shul fan moment, right, when everybody rushes to the Chazan. And my experience of that Shabbat had gone down to my heels. I was truly, truly humbled. And I walked out into the sun, just as later we'll walk out into the sun, and it would get boom, the sun was just all over me. Who exactly are the right people? So in these four walls, Rabbi David Ingber has said many times, words make worlds. And at that moment, I just remembered that, you know, looking into this Torah reading, that my world at that moment just kind of like started shattering. You know, that slow motion shattering, just like I would imagine when Rabbi Dayan was describing the shattering of the tablets last night. Slowly shattering, but my body was still whole. I was able to walk, find my family down West End Avenue because they had gone there, and still my body was whole, but I could feel this gentle shattering all over. And in this Torah reading, I said to myself, what I'm going to begin with would be these words, Al tomar bilvavecha, behadof Adonai Elohecha. Just don't say in your heart, because of my righteousness, not mine, right? Not the big M. My righteousness, did the Holy One bring me to this moment that I am about to be blessed with the blessing, with that covenant that the Holy One made with my ancestors. Not because of your righteousness. At that moment when I was put in my place, when the tablets of my body, both sides, started to slowly shatter, I realized one thing, and just thinking of this again, that denigration, deprecation, putting people in place is really, really fundamental to unbelonging them. Again, I'll say that again. Denigration, all these words with T-I-O-N, aspersion, denigration, all integral to putting one in one place so that you know you don't belong there. You thought you got this, but you don't. We do. So in the Torah reading that we're about to enter, we see the people at this place about to enter with trepidation. We are almost there, but we are still grinding our heels because we don't really want to go forward. And then we are told it is not because of your virtues. It's not even virtues. It's not even, it's about, let's see. It's not about you. It's because over there, they are suffused with evil. Over there, they are marinating in evil. So if they're evil over there, and we are not great sheikhs ourselves over here, so it's as if we are at a draw. A draw where teshuvah, or this word we always say a lot these days, healing, teshuvah, the chance to repair, all of this are not even in the periphery. Because once we have absolute deprecation of the other, there is no chance at all. And in the lowest of my moments in my life, I've said this. And since there are no little guys here, no children here, I've said this before. So then what? I should die. I should die. But in my moments of breath out, that I could breathe in again, I know that I can't do that. If the other side is absolutely total evil, and I myself on this side cannot move about, can't just count on my moxie, on my righteousness, on everything that I have and own and learn, then there's no movement forward. And the Ramban, our 13th century Spanish commentator, one of my teachers and students, Diego, just a few days ago called me. We were studying together, and he was in Barcelona. He lives in Barcelona. He went to Gerona. Gerona is where, the Jewish community where the Ramban was part of. He was there, right there, and I remembered him saying to me that I am walking on these streets, and I feel like I have affirmed, so my friend Diego has affirmed his Jewishness and went through Beit Din, studied for years, and immersed in the Mediterranean Sea 2 Tuesdays ago. And I hear him say to me, "Ve'enenu nachon," the way my heritage was ripped away from me, it is not right. And the Ramban here says too, for this assessment, this is not right. This interpretation is not sound. The Ramban acknowledges that no amount of Israelite righteousness could have justified God exiling the original nations, the other nations, from their land. This was the Ramban from that time. So displacement, where you don't belong anywhere, right? This eats up the conscience of anyone who is who is out. And I pray that displacement gnaws at the conscience of also those who determine who is out, and not just one who is out. Once someone is determined that they belong, you, the other, belongs in their worldview, click, click, click goes the machinery in your brain that to actually remove a human being from what they thought was home, from what they thought was a place that they belong, to impugn weakness and they were sleeping on their job, or other kinds of epithets, or they are unfit, or they don't rise up to the occasion. Displacement eats at us, and it eats at the entire society. Displacement eats at our Upper West Side. Just a few days ago, we remembered the first time that homeless people were accepted into the hotels like the Lucerne and the Belle Claire and the Belle North on the Upper West Side. And this happened because the homeless, it had been determined that should they stay in congregate shelters, they will just all die because they will just pass on the COVID virus amongst themselves. And that they thought that if they were moved not to places where you had 19, 20 in one room, but into these hotels that were laying fallow anyway, and of course all for good business, very good business move on the part of the hotels because they were compensated. There were charges, as there are charges in this Torah reading, on them. In our Torah reading, the other was called Rishat Goyim, right? These were people that were like marinating, almost like they're so full of evil. First of all, they're of other people, not our people, and they were like just the embodiment of evil. So instead of Rishat Goyim, in local papers, the homeless were labeled as all sex offenders, all drug dealers, all drug addicts. In the same way, at the same time, we were hearing from the higher echelons of the government that there were people down south who were all rapists and all also drug dealers. And in this back and forth of language, we're stuck in a nonstop loop. And I hear myself as that teenager crying alone in my room, well then, I should die? Should I then just die? So to this never ending, I come to holy space. I come to reclaim, I come to Jewish community. And whenever I come to pray, this is not just my job. I come also to pray. And like you, I am clawing from out of me this kind of knowing, something that's eating out of me. I'm trying to bring it out so that I would be in a state of feeling again, a state of awareness, not that impasse that said, well then I should just die if I cannot meet any of the needs and requirements. I find that when all of these words become like two walls between us, walling us, I find that we seem to hold on to our righteousness. Well, I am correct. I am straightforward, and it is my due to rebuke, to give tochacha. And the best in my study to prepare for this week gave me the first phrase of Melo Chol Haaretz Kavodo. And when Noah Solomon sang that today, and I really felt that Melo Chol Haaretz Kavodo, that everything on this plane whether you are at the heel, whether you are the head of it. Melocho la'aretz kevodo, it is all, the earth is filled with glory. The earth is filled with presence. And that it is a simple act of devotion to actually even see in the full frenzy of the righteousness of the other, to see the presence of the divine. And when last night, in answer to Rabbi Dayan's drash about the breaking of the tablets, Ilana Brody answered, I love you, please forgive me, I see you. I bring to you what is happening out on the streets. We are changing administrations, and we're still fighting not for just shelters, but for the homeless we placed in housing. When our governments have approved vouchers so that they can go directly to housing. And this I say to them, I love you, I see you, please forgive me. To my colleagues who are organizing, let us say these words to each other. I love you, I see you, please forgive me. Because in the heat of all of these battles, where one is calling the other, Rishat Hagoyim, drug dealers you all, rapists you all, to forget that all that we are doing is for beloved community and for mission, and the mission of a world that is a better world. It doesn't matter what kind of bags of righteousness we have and we carry. So in our Torah reading, we will begin with this again. Don't say in your heart, Al tomar bilvavecha. Don't say in your heart that you are, it is because of my righteousness that the Holy One brought us to this place in our history. The Torah reading would say, oh, it's because of those other nations. But I'm going to hear this one, these two words, this little phrase brought to me by my friend Diego from the streets of Harona, the Ramban saying, Be'eneinu nachon. Be'eneinu nachon. It is not always correct. So today, when we go into our Torah reading, Rabbi Dayan will be with me. In between, we will try to eliminate some of the Torah reading because we are now in our second triennial. Shabbat Shalom. Baruch Tihi. Our first reading will be here, and then David Willinger will be joining us for the second reading virtually, and so will Nancy Dallett for the third. So I'll bring the first reading in the name of the whole Kahal. So we are on page, hold on. I know. It's marked. Oh, don't use that. If you're following in our Chumash, the Etz Chaim Chumash, the red one, we are on page 142. So that would be chapter 9 of Ekev, verse 4. Somewhere down, like 4 lines from below. Okay. So bringing on those online and those of us who are here listening to these words of Torah,
ביעשר ויגם יושיע לכל החוסים בו, ונאמר אמן. הכל אבו גודל אלוהינו, ותנו כבוד לתורה. יעמדו כל הקהל קדושה, this holy community. ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. ואתם מדביקים באדוני אלוהיכם, חיים כולכם היום. I'm sorry? Yes, we are on 142, chapter 9, verse 4. 1042, my mistake. Thank you for correcting me. And all those who are online joining me, Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher בחר בנו עם כל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. אמן. Amen. Let's see, sorry. Yeah, I know. 9, no, I'm looking. 9, 4, okay. אל תאמר בלבביך, בהדוף אדוני אלוהיך, אותם מפניך לאמור, בצדקתי הביאני אדוני לרשת את הארץ הזאת, וברשעת הגויים האלה, there it is, וברשעת הגויים האלה, אדוני מורישה מפניך, לא בצדקתך וביושר לבביך, אתה בא לרשת את ארצם. כי ברשעת הגויים האלה, אדוני אלוהיך מורישם מפניך, ולמען הקים את הדבר אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב. וידעת כי לא בצדקתך אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך את הארץ הטובה הזאת לרשתם, כי עם כשעורף אתה. זכור אל תשכח את אשר הצבת את אדוני אלוהיך במדבר, למן היום אשר יצאת מארץ מצרים עד בואכם עד המקום הזה, ממרים הייתם עם אדוני, ובחורב הצבתם את אדוני, ויתענף אדוני בכם להשמיד אתכם. בעלותי אחריו לקחת לוחות האבנים, לוחות הברית, אשר כרת אדוני עמכם. בעשב בהר, 40 יום ו40 לילה, לחם לא אכלתי, ומים לא שתיתי. ויתן אדוני אלי את שני לוחות אבנים, כתובים באצבע אלוהים, בעליהם ככל הדברים אשר דיבר אדוני עמכם בהר, מתוך האש ביום הקהל. ברוך אתה, אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה, אדוני, נותן התורה. Amen. And for those of us in our community who are called to find themselves in front of choices. משבר אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב ואמותינו שרה רבקה רחל ולאה, הוא יברך את הקהל כהדשה. This holy community may we be blessed with health, with success in everything that we touch with our hands. May it be a blessing to you, to your family, and to this community, and all of those who agree. V'nomar, Amen. And our next, so we tried this last week, and we hope this time, 2 weeks ago, David Willinger will be bringing the blessing and a kavanah from Rabbi Dayan to give us a little light into this Torah reading.
So here Moses is telling us the story of the golden calf. Actually, we're not up to the shattered tablets, the golden calf. Moses is up on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights and doesn't know what's going on, but God does. God can see below and could see to the people worshiping this calf and dancing around it. And what does God say to Moses? Something very interesting. Hurry, go down from here at once, for the people whom you brought out of Egypt have acted wickedly. They have been quick to stray from the path that I enjoined them. They have made themselves a molten image. So in Hebrew, Vayomer Adonai Elai, kum red maher mizeh ki shichet amcha asher hotzeta mitzrayim. Because your people that you took out from Egypt has been destructive. So this is really interesting. We were talking about this morning in the open book, and Jay Brodbar pointed out that it's almost like an angry parent saying, your children do this, not my children, your children. So as if I was saying to my husband, it's your children that, destroyed the walls or wrote on the walls or whatever they did. And if you think about this, and this actually very much connects to what Rabbi Meir was talking about, it's as if there's a disownership of belonging, right? I don't want these children, they're yours. And that's especially striking because we're about to move into the month of Elul, which is the month of belonging. It's the month the rabbis saw as Ani l'dodi v'dodi li. I am for my beloved, and my beloved is for me. And I think often about this, about what it means that we belong to one another. What does it mean that we belong to God and God belongs to us? We live in a society which, to me, promotes the fantasy that we are atomized individuals and that we belong to ourselves. But if you think about it, I don't belong to myself. I am myself. I'm not an object to myself. That's a bizarre thought. So if I don't belong to myself, then I belong to you, and you belong to me. But there's something very vulnerable about that. There's a lack of control. What do you mean I don't belong to myself? What do you mean I'm not in control of myself, right? Or what do you mean that we're not in control of the world? So in this moment where God is so angry and so horrified by God's people, God does not want that kind of vulnerability. God does not want these people to belong to God, and God does not want to belong to those people. So God says, your children that you brought out of Egypt. And Moses does something very interesting in Exodus. which is Moses points out, right? Moses goes back in Moses trying to prevent God from destroying all the people. Moses goes back to saying, your people that you took out of Egypt. So, and I want to end by connecting to what Rabbi Mira said. Whose tradition is this anyway? Who does it belong to? It belongs to all of us, and maybe more radically and more pointedly, we belong to it. So this aliyah is for all of us who are ready to really, take the Torah and own it as a tree of life, and yet to give ourselves completely to it.
Not loud, my snapping. It's not loud enough. It should be our whole room snapping. There's David Willinger. So I will follow in the Torah on the scroll as David is reading. And I'd like to invite David to unmute himself and bring on the blessing.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu im kol hamim venatan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Page 1044, verse 11.
מקץ 40 יום ו40 לילה נתן אדוני אלי את שני לוחות אבנים, לוחות הברית. ויאמר אדוני אלי, קום רד מהר מזה. כי שיחת עמך אשר הוצאת ממצרים, סרו מהר מן הדרך אשר ציוויתים, עשו להם מסכה. ויאמר אדוני אלי לאמור, ראיתי את העם הזה, והנה עם קשה עורף הוא. הרף ממני ואשמידם, ואמחה את שמם מתחת השמיים, ויעשה אותך לגוי עצום ורב ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech Hi Tivarech David ben Chaim V'Blima Eliora. Oh, there's a D there. Okay. David Willinger, you should be blessed on your birthday with a year of taking into your hands the way you've taken Torah into your hands. You should take life into your hands. And I bless you as someone who has, in the past few years, devoted himself to really taking the Torah in your hands by learning Hebrew, by learning how to chant, by getting up here to chant in honor of your birthday. May you be blessed with the belonging of Torah and your belonging to Torah. And may we all rejoice in your joy and your empowerment on this amazing birthday. Yasher koach. Amen, amen.
And David, who we sometimes see in the back, right? People who are directors, they do this. They hide in the back, but they're seeing everything and they're absorbing everything. So may we also find each other at the community kitchen, side by side, in the coming year. Amen.
Amen.
He makes it sweet. He makes the experience of preparing food very sweet. Ta'amod, ta'amod, li'aliyah shlishit. Naomi, Elisa, Bat Basha, Chava, Shaul. Welcome, Nancy, for the blessing, for the opening blessing for this Torah reading.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Atah. Baruch Adonai Hamavorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Va'efen, va'ered min hahar, v'hahar bo'er ba'esh, u'shnei luchot habrit, al shetei yadai, va'ereh, v'hinei chatatem, la'adonai Elohechem, Asitem lachem egel masecha startem maher min haderek asher tziva Adonai etchem va'etpos bishnei haluchot va'ashlichem ma'al shetei yadai v'ashabrem le'anehem va'etpalal lifnei Adonai karishona arba'im yom v'arba'im laila lechem lo acholti umayim lo shatiti al kol chatatchem asher chatatem la'asot hara be'enei Adonai lehachiso ki yagorti mipnei ha'af v'ha'chema asher katzaf Adonai alechem lehashmid etchem vayishma Adonai elai gam ba'pa'am hahi ve'aharon hitanaf Adonai me'od lahashmido ve'etpalel gam ba'ad Aharon va'et hahi ve'et chatatchem asher asitem את העגל לקחתי ואשרוף אותו באש ואכות אותו טחון היטב עד אשר דק לעפר ואסליק את עפרו אל הנחל היורד מן ההר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת בחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
And a blessing for Nancy Dollett. May this blessing really be one where I'm going to invite her to just to share with us how she was able to put together her name, her Hebrew name.
So for many years, I wanted to know my Hebrew name, and I asked my mother, who remembers everything except having ever given me a Hebrew name. So I went to a retreat, and a rabbi was very kind. A group of us asked her if she would give me a name, and she said she would, but at the last minute she said, I think it should be temporary because you may discover your name. And I was very happy to have my temporary name, but years later, I was looking through some papers and out fell my naming certificate, which I had never seen. I had a name, Naomi Aliza. Years later, as I began to get involved with Romemu, Rabbi Mira helped me to interpret the rest of the document, and now I have the full name of my mother and my father, and I feel blessed that I have taken on the fullness of my name. Thank you to Rabbi Mira.
A blessing instead. You have stepped into the fullness of your name, a beginning of beginnings, something falling out of the book, and the same way for me, something falling out of the book at the same week. Be blessed, Mishaber Rabbeinu, Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov, Imotenu, Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah, Hu Yibarech Naomi Aliza Bat Basha Chava B'Shaul, who's come forward to read Torah in honor of Torah, in the honor of the Shabbat, with all honor. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, may she be blessed with blessings of success and health, and her family, a family that is whole and nurturing, and all those who agree and bless the sacred work of our hands. And we say, V'nomar Amen.
Amen.
בזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה.
כדוד קדש שמי רבה, ולמד ובחירותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי חונה וימי חונה ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב אמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבא מבורך לעולם עולמי עתמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתרסה ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. לעילה מן כה בחטא ושירתה תוש בחטא ונחמתה דאמרן בעלמא באמרו. Amen. As Robert holds the Torah with us, he being for me a guide, a light, his presence, he's holding the Torah. He's like for me an amud. And this moment, as he holds this, he holds the hope of a lot of us that healing come to those who are with affliction. Anna Elna, Anna Elna, Anna Elna Refana la, Anna Elna, Anna Elna, Anna Elna Refana la. Mishaberak to those who are in need of healing. Mishaberak. Rafeinu Adonai ben Rafeh Hosheinu ben Vashakit Yeletenu Ata be'ale refuah shlema lechol machoteinu biratzon milfanach Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu shetishlach mehera refuah shlema min hashamayim refuat hanefesh refuat haguf. And bless those who care for our loved ones. Stay here for a moment as my guard is beside me. We bring in the blessing for the new month. Are we here? Rabbi Diane, everybody, check me. We are hours before the month of Elul. How did we get here? Yehi ratzon milfanech Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu shetekadesh aleinu et hachodesh hazeh letova v'livracha. You're on page 52, the blessing of the new month, Rosh Chodesh. Batitan lanu chayim aruchim, chayim shel shalom, chayim shel tova, chayim shel bracha, chayim shel parnasa, chayim shel chilutz עצמות, חיים שיש בהם יראת שמיים ביראת חטא, חיים שאין בהם בושה. There is life. We crave for life that has no shame, that we are not crippled by shame. וכלימה חיים של אושר וכבוד, חיים שתהא בנו אהבת תורה ביראת שמיים, חיים שימלא אדוני משאלות ליבנו לטובה. Amen. Selah. Now the new month will begin this coming Sunday. This coming Sunday. Misha asanisim lavotenu imotenu. Ve'alotam me'avdut lecherut. Hu yig'al otanu bekarov. May it come upon us, upon all our people for goodness. For goodness. Haberim kol Yisrael benomar. Amen. So now we do this together. Rosh Chodesh Elul.
Rosh Chodesh Elul.
Yihye beyom Rishon.
Yeh biyom rishon.
That's Sunday. Abaleinu.
Aleinu.
V'al kol Yisrael. Letova.
Yevechadsheu Akadosh Baruch Hu Aleinu ve'al kol amo Beit Yisrael Ol ha'chayim u'l'shalom L'sason u'l'simcha Liyeshua u'l'nechama
See, even on Zoom, yes, it permeates all barriers. There are no barriers. Etz Chaim, we are in this, grounded in this tree of life indeed.
Eitz
You're on page 56.
Chaim, lama chazikim ba, betomchecha, meyusha, derachea, darchei Noah, v'chol nedivoteha, shalom, hashiveni Adonai, elecha v'nashuva, Kaddish yameinu kekedem. Hashem otach, elevavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, שמו ושמו אחד.
Oshimo Echad, as one people, as one soul that beats. We are here present to witness those of us who are in mourning and those who are observing a yard site. Please remain standing if you have loved ones whose names you want to share this morning. So these are friends on here on site. I'll come to you for a moment.
Yasel ben Moshe Halevi Vasara. My Aunt Paula Cohen.
My mother, Charlotte Figman, and my friends, Barry Koski and Susan McClanahan.
And in Zoom, you have shared the names of our loved ones. So I will read them, and I will also look at the names in the chat, names of your loved ones whom you add. We're remembering Albert Pasner and Eliza Peshabat Chana, Pablo Vela, Paul Dixon, Joel Winograd, and Heidi Kingsbury. We remember Peter Anthony, mentor father, Frank Anthony, mentor uncle. In our community, we remember Arthur Siegel and Jason Andrew Brodsky and Dr. Norman Crane, Salman Marenberg and Cecilia Romo, Stuart Fred Fate, we remember, David Winograd and Kimberly Hall, David Silverstein and Harriet Blum, Shirley Siegel, Benjamin Wolf Telushkin, and Beth Baldridge. We remember Devorah Stoll. We remember her. Yes, and Lee Brox, and Jean Foreman-Shore, and Ellsworth Levine, and Erwin Bardash, Mr. Elsie Floyd, and Lynn Blacker, Shirley Gatzik, Grace Tannen, Denmark. I remember my teacher, Rabbi Raphael Goldstein, who would sit He's one of those, a director who would sit in the back. Yitzhak Buxbaum, our Magid Yitzhak Buxbaum, who would be right up front here, standing on a chair, asking us to dance. Lauret Nierenberg, we remember, Brady Rifkin and Barry Kosky, Betty Levin and Seymour Burstein, Leslie Robert Axelrod, we remember. Charlotte Figman and Stuart Saville and Lily Zimmett. Julia Eisenberg, her music and her generosity. Shirley Marlowe and Gretchen Drury. Michael Africana Jr., Nancy Triger, Rabbi Dr. Henry Dicker, Robert Gerald Cohen, and Angela Lamar-Golis, Everett Dutchin, Batya Ariel, Bat Abraham, and Kathy Matty, Elizabeth Deegan, we remember, Bertha Sutton and Naomi Kramer Stemp, Miriam Mimi Stern-Wolf and Hadassah Loeb, Roberta Lipperman and Alice Barbara Macaras, Andy Neiman and Henry Lee, Susan McClanahan, Janina Goodwin Pitchman, Shai Zoderer, Danny Rohrbach, and Desi Ben Alemnish. If it is your custom to stand, please rise with us as we remember Zev Ben Beja, father, and Yehuda, peace warrior, father. Remembering Reverend Robert Gratz and Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Mark Evan Bateman, and Anne-Marie Zangara Zati Munajat. Mourner's Kaddish. In your Siddur in your hand here on site, it's on page 59. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei, be'amlich malchutei, B'chayechon uvyemeichon uvchayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv ve'imru, Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam olalmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shmei d'kudesha, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru, Yehi shalom Rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru, Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yosvei Tevel ve'imru. Amen. Tenchamu min hashamayim, may we find comfort in the heavens, comfort in Zion and Yerushalayim, comfort in our people. So hours before Elul, hours before, check this out. We think that on Shabbat we go out into the fields, we go out to meet Shabbat. So on the month of Elul, the rabbis say, no, it is the sovereign self that goes out into the field, Aha, would it be in search of us? Searching for us in all these different ways. Romemu creates community. Rabbi Diane, I'd like to invite her to, first of all, for example, like we have the Seekers. Seekers program is open and we have gone global. So register before the end of July for special discounts. It's a final week and registration is open. And Rabbi Diane Kohler-Esses is going to bring us, starting in August, right? You're a Tuesday, you're teaching on Tuesday nights? Okay, you have a reprieve of 1 week. Elul Beit Midrash, so the stories that we read when we are facing judgment. Rabbi David Ingber will be back with his Hasidic Masters, but Elul edition. So there's a daytime component of his classes, and there is an evening component on a Monday night. And on a Wednesday night, I'll be teaching, preparing for the high holidays with the Bilvavi, who is teachings are about mysticism, opening one's heart to the eternal. And classes will begin on the 9th. And high holidays, yes, we will be in person. And so we invite you to be in person with us, and also we invite you to join us virtually. And registration is open. If you're not a member, join and renew today, and there will be more high holiday opportunities. And yes, we will be creating our names, a book of names, like our Sefer Zikaron, and it will be, please include the names of your loved ones for the book of remembrance. And my cup. Into this cup of blessing that was so full, that is always so full. This cup of blessing, Rabbi Diane Kohler Esses, and our musicians, Noah Solomon and Rich Stein, and our sound mavens, Full Stack New York. So we have Anthony and Elliot and Michaelis there with us, and Michaela and Ari on, keeping us together virtually, and Junior and Freddie Diaz, as always, into this cup of blessing. Thank you to see you, Daniel, here sitting at that second row. That has always been your place, and Alyssa in her place. It makes my heart just jump. See, it's not just you. I see you, and I see Robert. We all have these different places we inhabit. And for our Romemu clergy and all our staff, Rabbi David Ingber will be joining us back on this coming Shabbat. And Rabbi Janice Elster, Rabbi Scott Perla from Brooklyn, and Hassan Basia, stoking the fires, the gentle fires, for the high holidays still in Fire Island. Into this cup of blessing, Alyssa, Rebecca, Michaela, Michaeli, Ari. Double blessings. I will tell my kids, accept the blessing wherever they come from, whenever and wherever. And we stand, Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot
את השבת
לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית
עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו סברי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן.
אמן. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, להתנשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא. והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה. והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכבירה. בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והוא ניסי, ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא, בידו הפיתוחי, ביתי שם והעירה, ועם רוחי גבייתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא. איי איי לי 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 איי איי לי לי איי איי לי לי איי לי לי לי
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. We go with compassion. We enter Elul. Elul is almost here.
Lai 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 lai.